Bill said, just go for it. I think so. Go for it. Hi, everybody. Hi. Some seats in the front. Alex, right here, buddy. Right here. Like, no. No. All right, I'm going to get started. You guys, it's Steve Lewis Design Week, isn't it? I'm 48 years old. When I was 23, I started an agency called Spakowski. I was on the board at AIGA for a while. I started a speaker series here at now called Bright Early, which was a rip-off of creative mornings. They wouldn't come to our town, so we started our own. But it's just an early morning breakfast lecture series on creativity. Turn it on.
Should I use this microphone?
Yes. I wish it. Okay, so I ran Seamless Designing for 6 years. That's why my hair is long. I was a member of a ad club, and then I recently started a weird project to it's like a career outlet called I'm So Bored, which is like a job board for creative people in St. Louis and markets. I'm switching it. Okay, so it's St. Louis Design. That's exciting. I don't know Eric, what's the number we're at? 13. 13. That's super.
It was 2012, right?
Yeah. I think we started 12. And who started designing? Tracy, Eric, Anna, and Enrique. Yeah. So anyway, props to you. Let's clap. I don't have any stuff like this. It's super important to me. So thank you to Chris and Anna and Vanessa and Bill and Jeremy and everyone in the crew designing. There's so much work and thought and energy and slugging microphones and coffee and all those things. Today's sponsor is Plaid Coffee. So if you're drinking coffee, that's from Plaid. It's very nice of them to wake up super early, turn to Edwardsville, Illinois. There's a Scotch blend coffee. They came all the way out here just to get coffee. St. Louis has these organizations. So who here is a member of the AIGA? Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. There's Ad Club, which I believe is like feeling a resurgence, which is great. The American Marketing Association, STL.org, which I think we're in the headquarters of. And STL UX, which is the UX designers. Anyway, so if you're a designer, if you're interested in stuff like the Design Week, maybe go to these events, check this stuff out, make her see cool activity. You guys wanted to talk about the future. You ready? Okay. So this is a reenactment of something that seems to happen to me at least once a week. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Who here are designers, like graphic designers, web designers? Who here are copywriters? Who here are strategists or accountants? What's the other people? Retired. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So it's a reenactment. My buddy Alex back there. Don't look at him though. I'm getting embarrassed. Okay, so this is a typical day. Hey, Alex, check this out. Alex is played by a bunch of artists. He'll be like, huh? I'm like, hey, take a look at this. I'm actually working. It'll just take a second for real. Just check this out. Fine. Walk over to my desk and I'll say something like, there's a new AI tool that makes a whole website in one click. You press a button and it spins and it flips and it spits it out and everybody's rich and just prints money. It's amazing. Yeah, but you know what this means, right? Oh, what? We're all dead. So we are all dead and other thoughts on design. This is an uplifting talk on the role of professional creators in the changing world of technology, mindsets, and the value of design. You guys excited? Yeah. Super excited. So each week, my mind is blown by new tools. Like there's always something that comes out and I'm like, holy crap, what does this mean for me as a designer, or an agency, or business, or the world? You guys feel that sort of anxiety sometimes? So I get so stressed out by it, but I get so damn excited about it that it's crazy. So these are screenshots from my my YouTube algorithm, right? So it's full of stuff like how to work 30 hours a day, or make 10K a month, or how to scrape websites, or make 1,000 social media posts in one click, or make everything faster, or spin out websites, or research, and all this stuff. And my brain just feels like a wreck, like a mess. And the only thing technology is really accelerating to me is like my own burnout. Because I go, I just try to process all this stuff, and I think that the bad news is it's only going to get worse. So there's this principle called Moore's Law. I'm not a scientist, but Moore's Law says that computer speeds double every 2 years, right? So whatever it is now, in 2 years, it will be twice as fast, and it's a compounding rate. And this is a chart from Moore's Law of computer, the transistors and processors since the 1970s. And so it's only going to get faster and bigger and better. And it is excited. I'm excited and completely burnt out trying to process and think about it all. It's not feel so bad. Okay, so some days I'm like fully charged and amped and excited about this stuff, and then the same day I'm just drained and can't figure it out. And maybe I just need medication. That wasn't like an emotional thing. I was just chilling when I was spit. I feel stuck sometimes. And so I don't know what to do, or what this means, or what it's going to change, or how it's going to impact my business, or my life, or any of this stuff. And so I think about like a typical project that I'll work on, like a branding or a website or something like that, where you have like this goal and this target audience. Oh, there's the animation. So you have this goal and you have this like this target audience you're trying to talk to, and then but throughout it, there's like all this internal drama, right? So there's like contracts and timesheets and client presentations and creative feedback and revisions and all this back and forth stuff. And whenever I'm stuck on something, I always tell myself, okay, what would the audience think? Like, remember your audience. And so when I remember the audience, all that shit just kind of falls by the wayside, just falls away. And it's very clear that it doesn't matter if the client doesn't like the idea. It matters that it's clear to the audience and will help get them to do something. Oh, you want the client to like it. So, in the case of all this tech stuff, I don't know what to do sometimes. So I open a little probe. It's all. Excuse me. I don't know what to do. And so I think of the client. I think of the audience. I remember the audience. I think of my client. I'm like, what would my client want? Like, how does any of this stuff impact them? And all the stuff kind of falls away. It just melts. But if you want to know what the creative or the agency of the future is going to look like, think about the client of the future and the business of the future. So what will clients want? What will they need? And the other thing that you should know about audiences of all kinds, not just clients, is that they don't care about you or your process, your internal politics, or all that stuff. They only care about themselves. And while this sounds really mean, this is, I think this is very true for all audiences. They don't really care about how you make things, they just want you to improve their life. So they care about things like their own problems, which is danger in their home. Their own promotions, their own careers, their own families, their own vacations, their own trips. And in order to achieve those things, they think about things they have to accomplish in life, like brands and campaigns and sales leads and results and reputation and all those things. And so I think of a guy named Paul Rand. You guys know Paul Rand? Yeah. I hope you all do. So Paul Rand was a designer, I think, from the really like the 50s and 60s. He did like Westinghouse and UPS and ABC and Next. And anyway, but he also wrote tons of books on design and the business of design and the process. And I love all that stuff. So this is what he said about design.
The designer, for example, to a businessman, is that he can add a great deal of value to his product, to the businessman's product. And I don't think that businessmen really understand this. He can improve the quality by making it look better. And very often, the designer's idea is not only improve the appearance of the product, but also improve the product itself. But designers, a good designer who understands his business can make things memorable, make it easy to recall, which is very important, and improve the general quality of life, which is the only reason for our resistance.
All right, so if you ever find yourself at 80 years old on a cable TV public access show in the 80s, talking about graphic design, you know you can be. But Paul says the value of design is to improve the business itself. You know, there's different ways to do that, but that's the whole concept. And so I think how can technology help clients do brands and campaigns and sales leads and improve the business itself? So what will a business in the future need? I don't know where to begin. So, because all businesses are different, right? Every business is different. It's hard to generalize and say, it's the same. So, you guys ever met my dad? I have. Anyway, one day his friend was working in the library, like out of some comedy movie. One of the shelves fell into the other shelf, which fell into the other shelf, and fell into the other shelf. The books were everywhere. It was a mess. And the friend calls my dad, freaking out. How am I going to fix this and clean this up? And all this stuff. And so he goes there and he goes, well, how do you organize chaos? You put it in a straight line. He tells me this probably once in a while when I have to clean out my garage or any of this stuff. So put it in a straight line. So I'm trying to think about the business of the future. There's a great author named Mike Calowitz who wrote a bunch of books, but one of them is called Clockwork. And he says that the thing that businesses have in common is they're all just a series of systems. And most businesses have a core main system. What they do to attract clients, convert clients, deliver the product to their clients. So maybe attract to stuff like a website or emails or social media or videos or cold calling. Or convert is like sales presentations and contracts and proposals and deliveries is like what you actually do along the way, like kickoff meetings and presentations and checking and collecting things like invoicing. All businesses have these things. So if you think about like all these businesses in the future, then what do they have in common? How can design and technology improve any of this stuff, right? So how can you improve these systems, or how can technology be used to make things smoother or more flow better, or tie things together, or less work for the client? How can understaffed teams do more? So what needs to happen to improve the business? Again, Paul says the value is to improve the business itself, but this sounds to me like consulting, right? This doesn't sound like graphic design or creativity. This is like consulting or business improvement, and that's where it kind of melts down. But I think that most creative people, we tend to just think of rectangles, right? So you can put out a rectangle, or what can I put in this rectangle that will help this business, or help them grow, or help them sell, or help them do something. So we make things like websites, or TV commercials, or ads, or social media posts, and we just constantly produce rectangles. So I think as creative people, sometimes we do the least creative thing we could ever do, and that's just to stay in our silos and only think about the things we do rather than the bigger picture. Silos. So these are typical. It's not for everybody, but if you work at an agency, you typically have these roles: art director, copywriter, developer, strategist. I think silos kind of hold us back. I think silos tell us who we are in what we do, and when we start to stop. And if you don't have the title, you have to use made-up expressions like enthusiastic young man to describe yourself, which is how I describe myself in this talk today. So they set the boundaries for when it's okay to stop learning. So I'm a graphic designer, and I have a great idea for a headline, but that's not my job, so I'm not going to explore that. Or I'm a designer, and I know I can make a website, but I'm not a developer. Or I'm a designer who really understands strategy. Strategist who really understands copyright. And I think mixing those things up makes it more interesting. You guys impressed? Feel it? No? Yeah. Just check it in. Check it in. Okay. So you hear things like, well, he's not a real designer. He just made that in Canva. Or he's not a real photographer. He just makes it. He just uses an iPhone. Or she's not a developer. She just makes Squarespace websites. And like, I think it's really interesting. But I think technology nowadays gives us the chance to learn as many directions as possible. But instead we do what I call the handoff. Okay, so who here knows what Figma is? Okay, so Figma, you could say, I don't know, Figma is like a page layout tool for websites, right? You could also say Photoshop or Illustrator or any kind of web design tool. But in the world of web design, what will tend to happen is there will be a designer who will make something in a static form like Figma. Like we'll make or something in Photoshop, it's easier to think about. And then they will hand it to a developer to code. Say, hey developer, I spent months making this thing, the client's approved it, go ahead and code it. And the developer will say, okay, and then they'll take weeks or months, and they'll show the designer, say, okay, well here it is. And the developer or the designer will say, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And like, I didn't really think this would work like this. And is there a way we can make this spin and flip and get something? And the developer's kind of frustrated. And they're like, well, this is dumb. And this is dumb, and this is dumb. And we're using a framework, so of course we can't do that. And you can do this a lot faster if you understood how to code. And I think this handoff has caused a lot of friction. So you have angry designers and angry developers. And if these guys ever fought, it would be the most pastel color flying thing ever. I try to find two of the most aggressive. Okay, the handoff leads to Heinsberg syndrome.
In October, third examination of W. Heinsberg. All right, then. Make yours like mine.
Robbie's next book was on the subject of a condition he called Heinsberg syndrome.
Where'd that railroad go? Come on. Good, very good. My goodness. How interesting.
Heinsberg but that's the handoff. We have other people recreate our ideas because we don't know how to make rectangles on that side of the table. It's their interpretation, and it's frustrating for both parties. So we waste all this time and fun recreating designs because of these silos. I can't ever code, I'm just a designer. This is intentionally bad for my wife's like, well, this looks good. Anyway, I think people in silos are going to feel the technology shove the most. If you don't step out and like see the world, because clients don't care about silos.
Well, this would be a good time to say something weird, but I've been thinking about.
Anyway, so you have like your computer monitor, and then you can buy on Amazon a 3.5-inch tiny monitor computer thing. And I just constantly play the movie Blade Runner on it. So it's super weird. Okay, back to the presentation.
Okay, so they only care about results. So you guys know the story of John Henry? John Henry was a steel driving man. Back in, I think, the late 1800s, there was a company that wanted to connect the East Coast with the West Coast with rail. You guys know what railroads are? My friend Jesse says that trains, the planes of the rails. This is, trains are ready to the tagline. Okay, so the company wanted to, extend the railroads. They hired guys like John Henry to lay tracks. And what they would do is every 10 inches, they would put a railroad spike in the ground. John Henry would hit it with a sledgehammer, and then take another step and hit it again, and take another step. It employed a whole bunch of people. And John Henry was legendary to the point where Disney made a movie of him. And he was the fastest and the strongest, and everybody loved John Henry and how hard he worked. And then one day, a man with a machine showed up to the railroad track and said, I built a machine that can lay spikes faster than any man. And John Henry's like, you can't beat me, I'm John Henry. And there was a great race. And the whole town came out, and they all cheered on John Henry. And it was neck and neck, and the machine busted ahead, and it looked like the machine was going to win, John Henry dug deep inside, and he went through, and he just hammered those spikes in, and he won the race by one spike. And there was a great party, and the town celebrated that a man beat a machine. And that night, John Henry went to bed, knowing that he had conquered the machine, and his heart exploded in his chest and died of heart. Next year, the machine was faster. Clients won't care. And not to be mean to John Henry or disrespectful to machine makers. But the client's goal was to get to California. They didn't care who hammered the spikes. We tell the story, the legend of John Henry, but not the person who had the vision to connect those things. And I think that's kind of apropos. So rather than racing machines, we could use machines to help clients achieve goals or lay railroads. We just need to start asking better questions. So rather than making, this whole society, like we're all about making now, if AI and technology will make for us, we're being forced to think strategically. And that makes us feel kind of naked. Because there's this paradox, is that now that we can do anything we want, any code or lines or design that we can generate now, we don't know what to do, and it freaks us out. At least it freaks me out. So we were all dead. It's me. Unless we shift to thinking about improving businesses. We can be willing to step out of silos and try new things. You don't have to totally change your career path, but it's okay to code a little or write a headline a little, or give weird talks, do things that get you out of your comfort zone. And then also love learning. I think I talk to people. I'm a big book nerd. I've listened to more audio books than I think anyone can ever want to do. It should be embarrassing how nerdy I am. But I think that people stop learning once they get jobs and careers. They're like, well, okay, well, I have a job, so I'm done. And I think keeping up with this stuff and thinking about how you can apply it to your world and the client's world is super important. I think we can claw our way out of the grave by learning above our role. And I think I tell my kids this is for anything. So if you're hired here, try to learn this stuff up and just start doing the things above you that don't really ask you to, and watch you excel. So I started as a designer, and in order to get better at design, I had to learn how to write. Because really design is expressing things. You can express it visually, you should also be able to express the words. So writing was great for me. And then in order to get better at writing, I had to learn about marketing. In order to get better at marketing, I had to learn about brand. In order to get better at brand, I had to learn about business. So I had to learn all this stuff just so I could go back to being a better designer. What's made me a better designer, a better brander, a better marketer, a better writer. And but this is sort of like an old school approach, in my opinion, because I didn't have silos. I had the benefit of starting off really, really broke. And in hindsight, it was probably one of the best things ever. But I didn't have a job that's here's your great computer, your timesheet, and just do these 4 tasks. We were 3 dudes in one Blueberry iMac. It's all the money we had. So we had one computer and we had to take turns, right? So it was I did design stuff and then I stopped. And then Taylor would take it and try to make try to make animations out of it. And then another guy would try to code it. And then we watched each other do it, I didn't really care about animation, but I knew what a keyframe was, and I knew what tweeting was, and I knew how to do all that stuff. So anyway, still, this is the original stuff. This is now I know what you're thinking. I said one computer, but I just want to say the computer on the right did not have all the pirated software to do the job. So this is our elaborate setup. But again, it's starting off broke, but it made me a designer, a developer, a motion graphics person, and a production person, and a copywriter, and a sales guy, and an IT guy, and an account guy, and a bookkeeping. But if I the picture, not a lot of janitorial. You guys, here's my terrible thought for you all today. If you guys know what an RFP is, okay, RFP, you don't know, request for proposals. So the client drafts up this long thing that says, we're client X and here's our background. And we're looking to create a brand and a website and a campaign that does this and talks to this audience. Here's all of our competitors. Here's when we need it. here's the scope and how we see it all working. You guys know what I'm talking about? So I think today's RFPs are going to be tomorrow's prompts. I think they're going to take that same stuff and load it into AI and hit them up and have it all spit out. And it's terrifying. Build me a brand and a website with 4-stage social media launch campaign targeted towards manufacturers that want more out of traditional warehouse management software. You know, in AI, you can hear that in a good, in a word bad, but I think how we look at it. So Moore's law is happening. It's only going to get worse. Everything that is super impressive now will be double fast in 2 years, which is crazy. And I think silos are going to melt a lot. Because I don't think we're literally all dead. I think it's all going to be okay. That's the other thing. It's all going to be okay. Because like, I tell my kids that the job will probably have, or the job will have probably hasn't even been. I think the industry changes so quickly, and pivots so quickly, and creative people can see opportunities and pivot or not. Fast. I think that's the benefit we have. So the creative industry is constantly changing. Stuff 3 years ago, I mean, it's a joke compared to what we do now. You know, 10 years ago, I mean, come on. I was grown. So Jen Simmons on Mozzilla, I stole this from YouTube. I did a bad job editing. I'm embarrassed to show it to Chris. But I just want to show like some technology design so we see the future, all the scary stuff. Think about like where we came from.
I was training this technique called paste up. It was the late 80s. I worked at a little print shop. The folks in the print shop, Sue was my manager for the summer, and she taught me all these techniques for doing paste up, where we would use the bar on drafting table to line things up.
I mean, come on.
We had pencils that we would use, and we had no-show blue pencils. And she would go use the photo typesetting machine and print out these long strips of text. It was basically this rudimentary kind of 1960s style computer where she would type in the text and it would print the text out on photo paper, like a photograph of the letters, because it was much more beautiful. It was super crisp. It was kind of the only way to get super crisp text. And we take that text and we send it through a wax machine and cut it apart and use the drafting table to line everything up and either measure everything. And that whole era of paste up, that kind of technology.
See what a bad job we did killing that flip start.
Oh, I love
I was
it.
going to say started in the 1920s and ran to the 1980s. That's crazy. It's crazy. But if we can live through that, you know what I mean? So I'm not spared by the future, but we've lived through paste up, hot metal, where they would melt metal, pour it into tight forms, and then stamp it out on the fly every day, which is insane. Photo layout, HTML, Flash, CSS, all these things, it's constantly changing. We just have this new thing called AI we need to figure out. So rather than be disparaged, you should say, what are the new creative possibilities? How can you use this stuff to break rules? What are the new communication possibilities? How can you reach out to those audiences differently? How can you use technology creatively? How can you make it weird and interesting? And Eric's point, you guys see Eric's video on Chris's web series about being weird, finding time for weird ideas. That's where the magic is. So you think these standard tools that everyone's using, and you're like, how the hell can we use this in a weird way? I think that's what's super powerful. So what tools can you play with? Remember how to play with stuff? Like the first time you open up Photoshop, or oh, you do this, oh, we got a drop shadow. Like all that stuff. Like how do you play with it? Don't be intimidated. How do you use them to improve your client's business? I made this slide more techy. But like, if you need ideas, like how can you make 2 AIs work? What would that sound like? Would that be weird? I think that'd be nice. Can you change the website? Can you change the layout of a website for each individual user? I mean, how do you think about things? This is just all general. Can you generate on the fly? Can you generate conversations and not copy? Can you remember what they've already read and then make the next time they go on the site more progressive? Can you change the tone of the brand to fit the person's reading level based on how they wrote their LinkedIn bio? You know, I think interesting stuff like that. If you're an experimental, use the same advantage. Can you worry less about who makes it and more about if it helps clients and helps the world? So we will live as long as creativity lives. So long live creativity in defiance, in irreverence, in weirdness, and single as design. So remember that the value of creativity isn't the visual artifact all the time, but it's the idea itself. And those are the things that push brands forward and people forward. So with all these tools, you're no longer part of an orchestra. You become the conductor. What do you want to play? Whatever it is, be loud. Thank you. And then I was going to demo some stuff. Any questions or comments or anyone crying? No. All right, I'm just going to roll it.
Can I tell you what my favorite slide was?
I love that.
It was the slide that you named, that it was a photo of your original studio setup, and then you blasted on top of it all the things that you have become on top of it.
I'd like to give you that slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you some weird stuff. So, I used to do development a long time ago, but there's all these like no-code, low-code tools. You guys are familiar with low-code principles? So basically, you can make stuff for the web without coding, which is really interesting to me because I don't want to learn how to code. But now you can just use a ChatGPT for like writing funny delivery. Like you can just say like, I want to make this plugin. Here's what I want it to do. Spit out the code. It will spit out the code, and it's really cool. And it's sort of intimidating, but not really. Because then you can say, I don't know what to do with this ChatGPT. Walk me through it like I'm 3 years old. You're going to tell you that my hands. You can use it to learn. So I made this website called I'm So Bored. I scraped LinkedIn with another AI tool to look at all the jobs and see what's like creative jobs. And I posted this Google sheet, and I said, hey guys, here's all the creative jobs in St. Louis. Everybody wants to look at it. And people were like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is so valuable. Thank you. I'm like, this took like 5 seconds. So I basically just built this site to do a couple things. Like I wanted to see how far I could use it with using it. Like that was the #1 goal. So if I could be bored and have a job bored, I mean, come on. This thing pays for itself. I didn't know how to do some things that I really wanted to know, but I didn't know how to set up a domain. So it was really easy, but I didn't know how to do it. Install WordPress, use a page builder, import data into WordPress. All these things are super intimidating to me. Set up e-commerce, self-checkout purchases before people can pay for stuff. And so I made this jump. So along the way, I was trying to figure out how I could make like updating it easier, right? So I found these things called APIs. It's getting nerdy. Don't be afraid of the acronym. Stay with me. Don't be scared. So you guys know what an API is? It's an application protocol interface, Bill. But really what it is, this is AI generated. This is terrible. But imagine like you are a customer. Who here's been to a restaurant? Then you know what an API is. Oh my God, we're old friends. So you sit at a restaurant and a server walks up to you and says, hey, what would you like? Like a hamburger from the kitchen and a beer from the bar and my bill from the host. The server, what do? They run in the kitchen and say, here's what they want. They grab it. They go to the bar, they grab that, they grab the check, and they bring it all back. That's all the API does. So, but imagine it like on easier terms. They've got to go up to a website. They'll go to like LinkedIn and grab the latest post from a company, or look at a row in a spreadsheet, or open your email, or send an email, or read an email, or whatever. It just does these things that you already do on your computer, but for you. So I found this thing along my journeys here called Pay.com. They ever heard of Zapier? Yeah. Okay. Zapier's the cool. It's like an automation thing, but Meg is like Tinker tools for APIs. You literally just say, I want LinkedIn to connect to Google to connect to, and you have all these. It's not graphic design, but it's so to be so creative and energizing because you're making stuff. So, for an example, let's say we wanted to make WordPress auto update. Right? So this sounds super nerdy, but just roll with it. So we use Bake.com, we log into Bake.com, which is the website. When we set it up, we say, go out to a spreadsheet that I have on the internet and look at the topic and read a cell. And then take that topic and go out to ChatGPT and paste it in the box and generate a new an ad or a post or whatever. And then once that's done, put it on WordPress and publish it. You guys follow me? So it's like really, really simple. And it's like these tools are so available in using AI in a way to work for you rather than against you. And John Henry had this. I don't think he would steal. Still spicy. So I used Bing.com to look at my spreadsheet and update the job. I'm not trying to plug my job for it. I don't do all that job. I'm just trying to give you an example that isn't like crazy. But so basically, this thing just takes a list of data and it just puts it in there for me. So I don't have to do it. So for me, it's cool. Every day, if you've never subscribed to my job board, every day it goes out, it says it's 6 in the morning. I go out, I look at the spreadsheet, I count as many jobs as go on the spreadsheet, I pick 2, I make a graphic, and I post it on LinkedIn. It's not the best graphic, and it's repetitive because I just haven't set it to do the same way. But it's using data to generate stuff. It's kind of cool. And then I use Make.com to look at the jobs, count the jobs, pick 2, write a 30-second, really shitty ad in the voice of Steve Wright in 70s media, and then perform the ad in a monotone voice and post it on LinkedIn. And it turns out like this.
You'll feel right at home on I Am So Bored. Travelers is looking for a web content manager, and American Eagle Credit Union needs a creative director. With over 106 creative and marketing jobs in St. Louis, it's like watching paint dry in high definition. And if you're hiring, what better place to list your job than on the internet's best kept yawn-inducing secret? I Am So Bored. Creative jobs, boring website.
And that's how I make all those things. I set up a system to build it, and then I hit the button. And I feel supercharged and great along the way. But it's new. It's not a writer, I'm not a but I think it's like energizing and sort of the future. Because that's all I have. Thanks for coming to my talk. Have an amazing design week. Alex is here. And they don't see you. Thanks. And if anyone has any questions about any of this stuff, I'm sure. Oh, question. Oh yeah, I never really do questions. Yeah. Oh, that's but maybe later.
Yeah,
maybe later.
sorry.
Anybody have any questions? Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I have a TV.
Yeah. I'm sort of wondering, with AI, it's pretty dour in my kind of space, and I love how you guys are using it, not just to take over, take over certain processes, but make it easier. I guess my question is, first of all, add and secondly,
That's great. Yeah.
and
Good feedback.
how do you see the relationship between kind of still design and people kind of working now with AI?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you a story. My friend hates LinkedIn. It's like, because I don't understand why I have to post on LinkedIn when I try to do it at the right time. It's just going to expire 2 days before you see it, and then 2 days later, that makes sense. So when I think about AI tools, you can make a lot of stuff that is still the caliber of your brand, also, I would say more disposable. And that's impressive. And I don't want to say just make things disposable, but if you can make things disposable easier, that's the algorithm. That's what businesses need. Isn't it? In order to be prevalent, I think that a business needs the most, at least twice a week. It's a lot of stuff. So, so I think by keeping back in this accelerated, you also need to make things move back. So it's just that fine line. Back to Moore's law in 2 years, it's not going to happen. You know, it's going to be like, you're going to be amazing. That's where we have to be in that. Yeah. So,
I guess we're gonna piggyback off that. Do you think that there will be a delineation between AI generated content? Oh. Hi, yeah, so to reiterate, so to piggyback off of that, do you think that there will be a delineation between AI generated content versus, you know, the elevated craft of fully human generated content, and there will be kind of like a high-end market and a low-end market, and that's where that differentiation.
I think the low-end market is going to drop. I think the high-end market is going to be, I think, more about business and design and consulting around a vertical and doing expertise rather than just general stuff. So maybe those are the high-end market. I just think like the rate of acceleration, especially social posts, like it's just going to be way faster, harder to get attention to. It will take a lot more effort to set up and then ultimately do something that's competitive. So, oh yeah.
Do you have a take on AI hallucination? Like
Yeah.
the role of like I could link up GPT to LinkedIn posts for my brand.
And then it frees up.
But like,
Yeah.
is there a role for the human?
So, I was reading this, or I was listening to a podcast, business or marketing or something. They interviewed this guy, and they're like, "You're a 30-year-old. How'd you do it?" He's like, "Well, I bought a bunch of like WordPress plugins and I after one got made money, I bought another plugin and rebranded that and uploaded the stack all out." They're like, "What would you do if you had to start completely over?" He goes, "Oh, well, I would make an AI-driven content shop that was 80% AI, 20% human." And so, yeah, hallucination and all that stuff. I'm not saying AI is that's the other thing. I'm not saying outsource all your stuff. I'm saying use it to play. And if it comes up and it makes trash, it's going to. You can't just outsource all your thinking. But with like the way I use it is you know, and it's silly. The weirder it is, like the more fun I think it is to try to pull it off. Or it's just really data focused, where it's like, here are the job listings. Like, so it's easier. So I'm not trying to outsource the idea of making monotone, boring job. You know, I'm not trying to outsource the fun. I'm just trying to outsource the things. It's not like a work thing. It's me. What about Blade Runner monotone? Anybody else?
You mentioned that silos hold us back.
Yeah.
I also think that niches hold us back. Or what are your thoughts
I think there's
on niche now?
riches and niches, or riches and niches. I think niches give you an opportunity to have a deeper knowledge and a deeper bench. So you can typically justify your ridiculous fees more. If you're the expert in branding construction firms or something like that, you can charge premium. You can have less pushback from clients. You can have more authority in the space. You know who your clients are. When you're a generalist, I don't do construction. I do paint store, or I do restaurant, I do anything. So I think that generalism always leads. But sometimes niches, like if you're focused on like the real estate agents or the real estate market and that thing crashes, you're screwed. So it's a gamble. I don't know if that answers you. But I'm all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'll just talk.
Yeah.
As someone who kind of goes off the silo question, as someone who just finished school and hasn't really even had the chance to set up a silo yet, thank you. How do you navigate kind of one, not putting yourself in the silo, but
also, like, as I have found, like, looking around, there's an expectation to, like, never set up in one, and there's an expectation to really be good at a lot of different things. Kind of where do you start with that, and, like, how do you go about picking a starting point, I guess?
Yeah, well, I think I was landed the first job was cheap. So if you get your first job at a super corporate rigid, for example, creative agency where everybody wears suits all day, it's like very structured and methodical. Your next job, you'll carry all those traits. And that's how you'll kind of behave. If you ever start your own place, it'll be the same thing. Because that's kind of what you learn. Or if you start a place that has like 5 people, a dog in their office, and it's hip hop all day, you'll think that's sort of normal, and you'll carry that kind of attitude. How do you, I would say, like, in order to get a job, people want to put you in a silo because it's easy. Oh, you're an art director, you need to know these skills. You're a developer, you need to know these skills. Hire people who can do it. Awesome. I think that's the thing about loving learning, because when you stop learning, I'm done. My first job was I worked in education. I was a cook for years. I was actually, now that you brought it up, the 1994 Pasta House Company Cook of the Year. I made my own T-shirt. But if I stopped learning, I would still, so you have to you have to learn on your own time. I think that's kind of the secret of life. You learn the job you want to have. So if you're, if you want to be a manager, start managing. No one's going to say, you're now ready to do this. You just have to hold it. But in order to land and get started, yeah, you have to fit your silo. But then you have to be just aware that your culture lets you shake out or not. And then when you have to do it alone, to kind of compensate. Well, let's just all agree this was a failure. If anybody has anything else, anyway, I'll be around. Thanks for coming. Happy Design Week. What's the next event? Design Women, that's it. There's actually 3 events. 10 o'clock. Tracy's the Mockridge, which. Well, hey, Tracy. Well, I'll see you too. Anyway, thanks for coming, guys. Happy Design Week.
So really quickly, just so everybody knows, at 10 o'clock, there are 3 upcoming events. One at Avery and Outlaw Studio, the Design for Women, the positives and negatives of owning an agency in St. Louis. Here in this space is Collaborate Like You Mean It, lessons from improv. So Best from Improv Shop will be here and hosting a workshop, which should be really fun. And then at Cherry Garage, there will be a sustainable swag workshop, which is custom. So hang out. A bunch of cool stuff happening today, and hopefully I'll see everybody at City Park tonight for our social.